Hello everyone and welcome back to Charlese Will Figure It Out. Today we have a very special guest, G.I. Go ahead and introduce yourself, tell them where they can follow you, all the good stuff.
My name G.I. I'm Denver, Colorado's finest. You can follow me on Instagram at g.m_Jesus with a G. I know y'all gonna remember that because ain't nobody else Jesus with a G. Check me out.
And there you are. All right, so we'll start off a little slow. So tell me a little bit about you. Like, what exactly do you do? What are you known for? Like, let the world know a little bit just about G.I. and where you came from.
Where I came from, like I said, is Denver, Colorado. I've been all over the country doing my thing. Miscellaneous ventures, you know what I'm saying? Little missions, but people know me for music. People know me for food. I got a food company called Lunch Special. Me and my partner Frost, he do the desserts, I do the food, you know what I'm saying? And we moving around Vegas doing that. I came to Vegas when I was real young, like 13, and was going back and forth to Colorado since I was young. It's kind of funny, I got out here from California though, so it was just a whole bunch of moving around going on, but yeah, that's me.
I get that completely. I feel like I did a lot of like moving around. Like, I'm from California, moved here. We still kind of were in California all the time. Then, you know, once I became an adult, I was in Michigan. Even like in teenage years, Michigan, then Texas, and
Why were you moving around so much?
California and like Vegas have kind of like been like where we kind of grew up.
Yeah, it's you know, it's
kind
easy
of like
to go
that
back
vibe.
and forth.
But then Michigan, my grandmother moved there. I was there helping her. Like, she had cancer, so I was there helping her for a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Michigan is not for me. She's good now. She's good. But
that's what's up.
But
I'm a survivor.
Michigan's not for me. So then I ended up in Texas because my sister was there. And then I stayed there for a while. I ended up getting married there. We moved, when I was married, we moved here for a little bit. We were back in California for a little bit. And then kind of Texas was like our main thing. We kind of always were.
But see, I moved to Vegas from Houston the second time I came out here in 2021.
Okay, so you've been all over too then.
Yeah, so I've been moving around a lot.
Would you say that you're like a, why am I forgetting the name? What is that? What do they call it when people are, a nomad?
A
would
nomad?
you say you're like a nomad, like you kind of like just go places, or do you feel like there's somewhere that like for you is like?
I say I started off as like a vagabond.
Okay.
And then I became nomadic, and then I became an explorer and a conqueror. You know what I'm saying? It was like levels to it. You feel me?
I get that. I feel like that's sometimes the best stories that kind of happen is when it just like you start off one way, you kind of just like find your different things, and then you figure out, you know what, I can turn this into something more than what it is.
Yeah, you got to flip it, but that's how I started moving around. I went through foster care when I was young in California. Like, my mom, she was dealing with some stuff. She pretty much ran away from the situation and went to California when I was like real young. And we didn't have no family, we didn't have nothing going on out there. My mom just had a couple issues going on, and some messed up stuff happened. I ended up in foster care, and then from there, I ain't like that situation. I ran away from the foster care when they finally like let me go to school, from going like from group home to group home and all that. They finally let me go to school. I ran away from there, hitchhiked my way to Vegas because I heard my pops was in Vegas. I was like 13, and then I was like just walking up and down the strip. I found out he was a pimp, and I was like, where the peas at out here? And I just started like asking people walking up and down, and I found him in the Flamingo one day.
So you did find him?
Yeah. Like 3 days.
Did you end up like staying with him after that? Was that
and then from there on, I lived the rest of my life like with my pops. He had all my other brothers and sisters too. He got like 8 other kids he take care of, so I had a whole bunch of siblings over there. He a single dad.
I feel like that's one of those things where, you know, so many people probably, I'm sure, look at it in a sense of like it's, you know, sad stories like all that. I'm sure there was very sad moments, but it's good that you did end up finding different things, and I'm sure now
it's only sad as you let it be.
As you let it be.
Like you said, you could turn everything around. So like, I wasn't thinking about it as a sad thing at the time. I was just determined to get to the next situation so it wasn't feeling bad. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like dwelling on the situation being sad for me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love that. I value that. I feel like that's a huge thing. That says a lot about you as a person, and I'm sure that's why, like, in every aspect that you're going in, like, you're finding those things where you're becoming, you know, well-known, you're becoming these different things because of your perseverance isn't going to let you, like, not make it.
Right, exactly.
So I feel like that's a great thing. I feel like that's hard, and I feel like that story alone is one of those things that you don't hear a lot. You hear some people who go into foster care and
you can end your whole story right there.
Literally.
But like, trials and tribulations is, you know what I'm saying, it's just obstacles, and then once you get through that, you feel like it just made you stronger. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel like it's not, well, some people get traumatized, but I feel like it made me stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't let none of that be a detriment to me. You feel me?
No, I feel like that's a beautiful thing. I can only imagine like everything that you went through before that too. So I think you being able to like look at the positive, that says a lot about like who you are and
Yeah.
what it is. Do you feel like what do you feel like helped you kind of mentally get through that all? Like I feel like we all have those little things. Like what was it for you that was like, you know what, this is it. Like this is what this is my goal for this. This is what I need for this.
Well, I my I was always like love sports when I was young. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I had like these athletic sports dreams that kept me moving to the next thing because I felt so confident in myself making it professionally in some type of sport. And my dad's dad was like, he was the first professional athlete to play two professional sports. He played in the NBA and the ABA at the same time, the Denver Rockets and the Denver Broncos. You know what I'm saying? So like, I always like looked at that and thought like, oh, it's so easy to reach. Like, I know what school I wanted to go to when I was 6, what college, you know what I'm saying? Like I had that so like, it was so scripted in my mind. Anything that was in the way of that was just an obstacle, and I never like, it never felt like it was something that was gonna stop me. It just felt like something that was something I had to get around to get to what I knew was the ultimate goal. I never felt like it wasn't gonna be that until it wasn't. You feel me?
So when, sports kind of was that thing and you realized that wasn't what was going to do, what was like the switch that made you say, hey, you know what, I'm going for music, I'm going to do this? Or was music kind of one of those things that was always a pastime for you?
It was kind of always a pastime because my mom's dad is Roger Troutman, who started the auto tune and did all the Computer Love, California Love with Pac and Dre and all that. So like, once I was born, it was so like,
Music was there for
it
you.
was just so regular, just like the sports, you know what I'm saying? But I never looked at it as a way to earn money until literally just recently, like up until like probably like last year. I didn't really look at it as a way to be my career or my source of income. I just knew what I was doing with it, and I
And you
just
knew you
thought it was
liked it.
kind of cool. I could rap and
Yeah.
or make a song or sing or do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that was just pretty much it.
What were you doing before that? Like before you chose to like say, hey, you know what, I'm going to put my energy into making this my career. Like what was it before that for you?
My pivot out of sports was crazy. It was just like most failed athletes, which our community is filled with.
Yes.
They pivot to, most of them pivot to the streets because they become frustrated failed athletes, because that's the only thing that they dream of doing. That's their entire identity. Understandable. But luckily I had my pops and I had a different type of guidance. I didn't do the right things, but I didn't dwell on the football thing not
being
going
here for
through.
you.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I fell back on selling. I caught my first dope case in school while I was playing football. Like that's what stopped me, because I was trying to earn money the whole time. You know what I'm saying? I was doing my thing. But so like, selling dope, I started pimping, I started doing all type of things, and then that's when I ended up, like I said, I've been to every state in the country, and that's what brought me there. You know what I'm saying? Like just doing all these miscellaneous ventures, trying to find myself and figure out what's gonna help me get the furthest with the least issues. But I ran into a lot of issues trying to get there.
Trying to get
You
there
know
and
what I'm
do
saying? Yeah.
I feel like that's a big thing. Like I grew up, my dad's an ex-pimp. My dad, used to, sell drugs, do a lot of different things, a lot of illegal things, just everything. My,
Yeah, it's
my
common in
family,
our community.
yeah, it's common. I grew up around a lot of stuff. I was definitely, blessed in a sense that I did for, most of the time I was with my grandma and my grandfather. Like before my grandfather passed away, I was with them. And, my mom was an addict. My dad, stopped doing drugs and everything, but he was still doing a lot of illegal stuff. I moved with my dad when I was in high school. And I feel like for me, I saw so many different things, and I feel like I could have turned in so many different ways, but I was definitely blessed in the sense that my dad, even though he was doing things, I wasn't sheltered at all. Like I was able to see everything, do all of that, but it was also one of those things where I also knew like I didn't want to end up like my parents in certain aspects, which at the same
Right.
time, both of my parents have had beautiful, amazing accomplishments, weren't always the greatest people.
Right.
And I feel like especially like in, the Black community, everything, we do have a lot of people who, again, do tend to kind of fall back on just street stuff or whatever it is.
Right.
And I think that not everyone's able to like get out of it. And for you, like you may have, you caught cases, you did all of this, but at least there's still some sort of like light for you that you're like, hey, you know what, this
Yeah,
changed. And I
for
feel like in
sure.
Vegas, especially, having growing up and your dad was a pimp, I can only imagine like the things that you've seen, what you were around.
I mean, that's
you
what my
going
mom
into the
was running
streets.
from. What took me away from it,
Away from it
even
all.
started the whole
Process of it all.
fucked up process, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So yeah.
So you trying to find that balance again, and at least you were able to, in a sense, even though you've had cases, you've had issues, whatever it is. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're steer clear of everything now, whatever the situation is. At least there's still something where now you still have that light where you're like, hey, I'm focused on something else. My dreams, my aspirations are changing, and not everyone gets that. I feel like a lot of people don't even go there. They're just like, no, for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be nothing but in the streets.
Well, yeah, and I seen a lot of examples like that growing up. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of brothers and sisters. My pops was a single dad, so like I have a bunch of brothers and sisters who their moms wasn't there. They was in similar predicaments as like I was. You know what I'm saying? So I got to see a lot of them like dwell on the situation in a negative way, or like, let it affect them in a way where it's gonna hinder what they're doing, and as far as success wise, you know what I'm saying? And I never wanted to be on some woe is me or like, you know what I'm saying, this is gonna stop me. It just, I never liked that look. I'm about positivity. I like hugs and smiling and laughing, you know what I'm saying? I just can't bring myself to like.
Be upset constantly.
Yeah, it's too much energy.
Yeah, I feel like there's more energy that goes out when you're negative and when you're upset and when you're doing this than if you're just like happy to like just do it. Like there's so many things, and again, it's one of those things where you've been through a lot of stuff. You could have either let that drag you all the way back down, or you could have figured out a way to turn all of those things into a positive thing.
But see, like you were saying, my parents, they beautiful people. They haven't always done the best things, but they beautiful people. So like I was taught with certain like principles and things that I would stand on and morals that I had that I kept with me that some people let go away once they get to a threshold out away from their parents or whatever the case. But I retained some of that stuff. So I think that kind of helped me with a lot of that too. You know what I'm saying? Because like my mom is like a super logical person. So like she always instilled like this super logic in me. So I mean, if my mama getting high or doing whatever she doing in the street, like it don't get me high, it don't stop me. So why am I finna dwell or be sad that you doing that? I could still be great. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's one of those things. I think there's also like that stereotype that people think of just because, you're on drugs or you're this or you're that, you're automatically a bad person or you're a bad parent, all of this. Obviously, you going into foster care, obviously there was something, negative that was happening, but that doesn't make someone necessarily a bad person or whatever. And there's ways for people to be bad people, good parents. There's ways for people to be good parents, bad people.
Right.
Right. There's ways for all of those things to kind of equate. I've met, some people who drug addicts do all of this, do crazy shit, but when they come home and they're with their kids, you would never know. Or they make sure that their kids still have that life and they still have these beautiful things. Is it necessarily the best thing for your kid either way? Not necessarily, but at the same time, it's like
they doing the best they could
can
do. Right, and they feel like they doing the right thing at the time. In hindsight, once they step back, once they get older, they're gonna see they wasn't doing the right thing. But at the time, they feel like they doing the right thing to accommodate whatever they feel like they need to do to support the household, whatever the case. Which I feel like I had a grasp on when I was a kid, and a lot of people didn't.
A lot of people don't see some of it. There was things that I seen, and I was definitely like, it's still my mom. I still love my mom for this. Like, oh, she's great with this. And now that I'm an adult, there's certain things that I'm like, nah, like that. Not acceptable, whatever. But at the same time, there's things that you still have those core memories and those core things that you're like, hey, whether your parents did this or that, like, for a fact, this was always there. This was going to happen.
Yeah.
They made sure you had this, you had that. The love was there, even if it wasn't like the best thing.
Like, my mama might not be home all the time when I come home from school. I don't know where she at. She might take a day to get home. But if the trash not out, if this not done, if this is not done, I know I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do it because I don't want the altercation, and why not have a clean house? You know what I'm saying? But every kid not thinking like that.
No, it's one of those things too. Again, it's how you're raised, like what you go through too. So it's is what it is. It's it's life. But enough about our childhood traumas, everything else.
Right.
So what can we look forward to with you now? Like I know you're starting to why can't I not talk today? You're starting to figure out that you can make money with music. Like you can do all of this. Like what can we expect from you? Like what's kind of next? Like what's your vibe when it comes to music? Like what's next for you?
I'm doubling back on everybody I did music with that's on now, getting my stuff back. No, I'm just playing. I'm about to finally drop my first project. I really ain't dropped no music, none of that, because like for me, music was just a hobby. It was just a thing I was doing. Yeah. So I'm about to drop my first project. It's called Before I Get Mad. It's gonna be dropping here in the next couple months. And I'm just moving forward with that. I've been doing promo. I've been going to radio stations, doing shows. I've been trying to do all my due diligence I need to do to build up a little bit of buzz around myself so people can appreciate the art that I release.
I feel like, not to go back on stories, but your story in general with that is one of those things where with everything, you'll naturally create the buzz. Like you have the energy for it. You've been through a lot.
Right.
I'm sure, I know for some people like they don't always put everything, but you're now getting into it. I'm sure in your music you're also putting those emotions and everything else to it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, your manager sent over some stuff for me, like G sent some stuff and was like, hey, listen to this, whatever, beforehand. And so there's different things that I feel like will come, and I feel like naturally, I feel like we all kind of like find those things, and once you're ready to put your mind to it, everyth's gonna come to you the way you want it to.
No, you're right, because I mean, I've done, don't get me wrong, I've done music before, and I've seen if you put the work in, you're gonna get out of it what you put in. I didn't realize it at the time, but I mean, like I said, hindsight is 20/20. Once I stepped back and realized what I was doing, like I done been on tours with Tory Lanez. I did all type of stuff with the music, but I didn't realize, you know what I'm saying, like that it was something that could take me to the next level. Till you see people like Tory Lanez getting signed after that, like, whoa, damn, I was just doing music with you 10 years ago, bro. That's crazy.
Like it's crazy, and you probably weren't even. And obviously at that time you weren't thinking like, oh, I can do something. And now it's too, luckily for you, you have had some of that. So maybe now some of those connections, some of those things happening, I'm sure you can kind of expand with some of it.
Yeah, as far as that connection dead. But
yeah, it doesn't have to be that connection. I'm sure you've made other connections.
I said that's why I said as far as that one dead. Bro, owe me some money. That shit over with. But everything else, yeah, I'm on.
Finding it all. I think that's like the biggest thing is, finding how to grow, what to do, having the right team behind you, and having the right people too, surrounding yourself with the right people, because I feel like that's what kind of pulls people down sometimes, is surrounding yourself with just, oh, you think this person's cooler, oh, they're hanging out all the time with this, doesn't mean that it's going to do anything for you or
because I could be with the most, you don't even understand some of the people that I could go rub elbows with right now. Like I perform with George Clinton every time he comes to Las Vegas. Like that don't necessarily mean it's going to take your career to the next level. It could if you utilize it the right way. You know what I'm saying? If you take the opportunities given and take advantage of them, you could, but that just being around stuff like that doesn't get you to the next level.
Doesn't get you where you want. You have to put that work in still either way.
Yeah, you still, hard work beat talent. Yeah. So I mean, I learned that from experience. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like in any aspect, with your grandfather, like for the fact that was your grandfather, do you feel like that helps you in any way with anything? Or do you feel like it's still just really just doing everything yourself?
I do feel like it helps me. I feel like it hurt me at first because I took everything for granted because it was there. Like my mom's goddad is Prince. It don't seem unreachable to me. It doesn't seem like they're stars in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not looking at it as the way the world is looking at it, or like it's something that can make me money. Like I said, to me, I'm watching them hang out, get high, make music, play instruments, be goofy. It turns into platinum hits, but so in my mind, it wasn't that serious of a thing. But now, in the future, now that I got to retain that and really absorb it and take it for what it is, I can use those experiences to my advantage. Like you said, I could put certain emotion into my music. I learned certain caveats about music that the average person wouldn't know because I watch some of the greats create some great things that, you know what I'm saying, that nobody else got to see. Yeah. So it helped me and hurt me at certain junctures in my life and in my career.
I feel like that's with anything in life though, and especially too, like right now you have a lot of stuff where you have like, Nepo babies, you have all of these things that and it's one of those things where not everyone takes advantage of what you have when it's there.
Right.
And then when it's not, you're like, oh shit, like let me go ahead and backtrack to see what exactly can I
Exactly. That's the stage I'm in. And then it's a weird thing too. It's been a bitter thing with my family, and it caused a crazy divide because, he got killed by my uncle, which was his manager. So it's like career-wise, there's a divide. Family-wise, there's a divide. You know what I'm saying? Certain people support this side, that side. It's politics in it that's super deep that I couldn't even explain. But that kind of made me stray away from making that a thing about me at first. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's not about you though. Sometimes it's like finding things, and especially when it does come to like family things like that, it's not, it wasn't your place. And even to like, no matter what, at one point you were the child who was having to see all of this. You were that. You may be you're grown now, but at the end of the day, there's still that inner child of you that had to go through and deal with all of this at one point. So now it's having to take all of that mixing it, figuring out where it is. And I don't care what anyone says, when you go through stuff as a kid and you see certain things, you hear certain things, as an adult, we still kind of hold those in a childish kind of manner.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like you can adjust it and you can tweak it to be whatever it is, but no matter what, like that's something that no matter what, you're gonna be in the divide for, because that's your real life, that's your family. Like as an outsider, I may sit here and be like, oh, it's probably not this, or it's not that deep with this, that. I wasn't there. Like we don't know what it is.
But then sometimes it do be that deep, because like you said, like as a child, you hold it in a childish way. So like sometimes I associate some things with other things I experienced that had something to do with that. So like, since my grandfather passed away and my uncle killed him, but then killed himself, they had their funerals together, which was crazy to me as a kid. But the funeral was like in a huge like auditorium with like all these stars and all this, but I'm associating all these Snoop Dogs and all these people with a funeral now. With my uncle killing my grandpa, like. And my grandpa was like my favorite person when I was a kid. You feel me? He used to like pick me up. He make cartoon noises, just, you know what I'm saying? Like all type of stuff. He taught me how to do like impersonations with my voice, Daffy Ducks, and he taught me,
you know,
I ain't gonna do all that, but
can you though?
Nah, I don't even.
It's not trying.
I think about it all the time, but I ain't, since he passed away, I ain't never like even never been on that. But he taught me, you know, instruments, just stuff I retain in my mind, but I ain't never used again. Like I ain't played an instrument since he passed away.
But that's a memory that you'll forever be able to have, and you know, maybe one day you'll be able to get back to where you do that, and you do it in a sense of like it empowers you in a different way, or maybe it's one of those things that you do to start connecting or having your own emotions, like whatever it is for you that it does, or maybe you never do it again. But it's one of those things that you still have that memory like forever, and I'm sure now, like all of those little memories, I'm sure now you put those into your work. Like you're like, damn, like thinking about this, or you know, oh man, something probably clicks for you at times where you're like, oh damn, you know, when my grandfather did this with me or that. Yeah. It brings back those memories, and I'm sure that's a beautiful feeling.
Especially with music.
But still painful.
All the time. Yeah, it's crazy. Like shit, just using auto-tune be, I guess it'd be crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I got taught how to use the what is it called, the vocoder, where you like you put a tube in your mouth and you got to play the keys. Like, and
I've seen that.
That's how he used to do it, through a box like that. It wasn't like an auto-tune you push on a button.
Yeah, now you can just push a button.
Yeah, now you just push a button. It's a whole different thing. Like
I can only imagine being able to see that like firsthand, like that being created, and now you're looking at it in a different story. Like you're looking at it now and you're like, oh shit, people are doing this from a machine. Yeah. But like for you, you got to see everything like firsthand.
Yeah, like it was so regular. Like he teaching me as a kid, like you got to blow in the tube and this and hit the keys, and then he taught me how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on it so that I could do the proper keys, and you know what I'm saying, say it in the right keys. Like it was crazy, like it, but it's so weird to be able to see somebody push a button and can do it.
And do the same thing now.
Yeah, or even when, cause I got a band now, we call it the Groove Catchers. It's like George Clinton's grandson and, you know, all these people, but like they'll play the instruments as the beat and I'll rap, but you would never know that they didn't push buttons to make the beat. You know what I'm saying? They did everything. They physically played the drums. They physically played the guitar, and I'm rapping on that, but it sound like a producer made the beat with Fruity Loops or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that always been amazing to me. Like how sound could be like transferred technology, and then it's only 12 keys on the key. Like it's amazing how music is made. It always been like a beautiful thing.
I think music is one of those things, like especially when you're into it. Like I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, I can't do none of that. I can't rap. You know, I could probably figure it out at some point.
Have you ever tried?
Not really. Like
then
a
how
little
you
bit.
Know you can't
like,
do it? You can't knock it till you try it.
I feel like I've tried a few like little things here and there, but never like actually like trying. I don't know. Like I sing all the time, but it sounds like a dying cow. You know, it just is what it is.
But see, you don't necessarily gotta sound like sonically correct to sound like a good singer. Like Life Jennings made a career out of not sounding sonically correct. You know what I'm saying? Or like Amy Winehouse. You don't necessarily have to be a good singer, but you do have to go with your strengths vocally. But
I don't want to be a singer, so
that's
it's
cool
okay.
anyway.
I like being a shower singer, a carpool karaoke singer. Let's go do karaoke together singer.
So this is what you wanted to do your whole life. You wanted to be an interviewer?
No, my entire life I wanted to be a wife and a mother. And if I was, you know, that was always like the big thing. And then outside of that, I used to always say like I was going to be a lawyer. I still help out. Like I've had friends and family who have like had lost stuff. I've went and kind of helped, you know, read stuff or done little paralegal stuff like with them here and there. Not too much. I did that just, you know, for fun, like friends
Your
and
main
stuff.
dream was to be a wife and a stay-at-home mom, though.
Mhm.
That's
My
dope.
entire life.
I don't
So
hear that often. That's
I
dope.
and
I feel
I
like
love
women
it.
be ashamed to want to do that. There's
I
nothing
think
wrong with that.
I think it's crazy for women, for the shame that does come with it now. For
Yeah.
me, it's always been one of those things. Like, don't get me wrong, like I've done a lot of different stuff. Like I have a salon space that I do hair out of sometimes. Like now, that was my career for a really long time. I was doing that. I do a lot of modeling now. I do a lot of like acting now. I do this, but this is just more for me. Like it's more fun. This is something I enjoy doing. I love, talking to people, getting to know
It
people,
could be
and
lucrative,
I'm good
though.
at it. And it can be lucrative for me. It's one of those things that's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal in life is to be a good wife, mother. I was previously married. He's not biologically mine, but I do have a son who I raised from the time he was like 2.5. Like still my son, like everything else.
I mean,
At some point,
I
I will
got
have
kids.
kids.
I don't got kids, but I got kids I take care of too, so I totally understand.
No, it's one of those things where it's like you find it, and sometimes people I feel like try to take away from people who have been like step parents, whatever. There's certain things and certain aspects where you're more there than anybody else is.
Well, my situation kind of unique. My sis passed away. She got killed at one of the 7-Elevens out here, but
I'm sorry.
her kids got left behind, and 2 of them they didn't really have a father option, so I had to be kind of there for them.
That's good though that they had you to be able to do that. I'm sure especially with
Well,
again your background,
with my
foster care,
experience,
everything else.
exactly. I ain't want nobody to have to go through that.
Yeah, that's really big of you, and that takes a lot. And again, it's one of those things where people don't realize when you choose to take on children, whatever it is, whether it's from a hardship, whether it's from a relationship, whatever it is, that's still puts you in a situation that you didn't choose to. And I feel like sometimes that's harder than it is to, with having kids. I'm not saying that, when you have your own child, like it's one thing, but that's something that's a whole nother emotional battle that
I
feel
don't
like
know
people
if it's
don't know.
harder. I would feel like it is only because
It wasn't
I didn't
your
have to
choice.
wait for a pregnancy. I wasn't like I didn't have sex with somebody. I didn't consummate. There was no, you know what I'm saying? There was no preparation. I lived my whole life like a bachelor. And then
it's just,
somebody
here you
brought
go.
a 1-year-old and a 7-year-old to me. 2 little girls, mind you. And I'm pimping. I got women in the house, all type of shit. I'm like, damn, I
You're
gotta
like,
kick
I gotta,
off. Y'all
figure
bitches
something
gotta
out.
go.
You're like, I gotta
Damn.
figure something out, show them something different.
Yeah, that's when I started doing the cooking.
I think that's good though.
And
Like that.
transition into that.
That's one thing that is big, especially again in Vegas, especially when it comes to like pimping all that. That's a big thing here.
Right.
And it's like finding those things, and especially like for you, like whether you chose to continue to do it, whatever the situation is, finding those paths for especially with little girls around to show them, hey, this is that, and like I'm very big on. I don't knock anyone who's in the sex industry.
Right.
If you whatever your situation is, it's your decision. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's this. I think there's bad ways to handle things with any situation.
It's
there's
good and bad
ways,
with everything.
Yes, there's bad ways to do any of it. But no matter what, it's one of those things where it's like, if someone chooses to grow up and they decide they want to do this, I've met people who have wanted to be in the sex industry their entire life. It's one of those things.
My family is victim of that.
But I'm saying, so it's like we've all seen it, but it's like that thing where it's like it's also too finding that way to show a different light to especially little girls nowadays, where now in this industry, this world, they're seeing everything. Social media,
you right.
internet, YouTube for kids, whatever it is, seeing everything.
And I don't want them to firsthand see an example or have a perception or anything be misconstrued to where they grow up and be doing something I don't want to see them doing. So my first thing was instantly just rip everything off like a Band-Aid. I got to start over, start back from scratch. I got to get right. I got to set an example for them. Like on their birthday, I might just bring them flowers randomly just because. I mean, even though they little girls, I just do things that I would want them to look at another male in their life to fulfill the void that if I'm not there. You understand? So like I want the example to be like a pure stand-up man for them. So I just be trying to be that as much as I can. In their eyes, at least.
And I think that's one of those things where they're going to look at that, and there may be times where, and I'm saying this like as a girl, like even like with my dad, there was times where I may have been mad, I may have felt this way, or even where I'm like, oh, you didn't do this. But there's definitely things that my dad made sure that he did for me that I saw that now when I meet men, if you don't fit this standard, or if you're not doing this, it's not even worth it for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. Or it's like it's one of those things
compromise.
Where be there, and that's even with sons too. Like with your son, whatever, show your kids and show those that you have around you and those that are surrounding you what you want them to be or what you want people to provide for them?
I can only imagine what a son would be like. Me trying to raise a little man that's
To figure out, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, but at the same time, I want you to still stand this, because women are just like, we can say, I know there's so many different things, like I'm sure you hear it, and I'm sure when you're from, like, there's women are just as grimy as men are.
Nah, you right. I mean, humans is humans.
Humans are human, for real. But
I mean, the human psyche is you know what I'm saying. It don't pick a gender. But as far as like the kids go, I just know I wouldn't have had the same type of like discretion with a little boy. You know, it would have been.
It wouldn't have been as. It would have been like.
I don't know what it would have been, but I know that it wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have felt like I wanted to protect him from so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would have went.
But it's one of those things where you don't know until something happens, and you don't know till it's going there, and that's kind of like the thing, especially like again in the world, boys are treated one way and girls are treated another way.
Right.
And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it, but again, I'm also a person who I'm literally telling people I want to be wife and mother.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with it neither. I think that double standards is necessary in certain aspects.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially like with that, like I'm very firm on that too. Like I feel like I don't think there's anything wrong when people are like, well, girls shouldn't do this. There's certain things where I'm like, okay, girls should be able to,
right.
If they want to do this, if they want to do that.
I mean, some double standards is stupid. Like a dude can't wear fake jewelry, but a girl can't. Like some double standards is stupid.
It's stupid.
But some make sense. Like it makes sense that a woman can't compete with a man in sports. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think
physically, as far as what I'm saying.
In no way, shape, or form do I think that a man and a woman should be able to say, "Oh, we're competing in the same sport, and we're gonna." It's fair.
Right.
It is not.
Maybe as like little kids, but like once it gets to a certain point, it's like, come on, bro.
Your hormones, everything are different. The way that adrenaline works in men, the way that hormones work in men and women, everything else is completely different.
Exactly.
So I feel like there's ways to, doing it. And I'm sure like with kids, like again, if it was a boy if you would have been with two boys instead of two girls, probably would be somewhere completely different right now.
Man, ain't no telling.
But
I mean, thank God, everything happened for a reason.
It was meant for you. It was meant for you to, find something else. And you may not have chose to go into more music if it would have been boys. You may have found ways to
I wouldn't have slowed my life down enough to even think about it. You know what I'm saying? So many people in my life be telling me to do music. Like once I slowed down and wasn't doing nothing and was more bored and that, you know what I'm saying, had more idle time and was sitting around with the kids and stuff like that, I was just hearing it so much more because people were like, "Dang, you're not doing nothing now. Like, why are you not dropping music? Drop music, drop music." People asking me to send them music and stuff that I got in my files, like crazy.
At least now you took that time to do it. So with your I know you obviously like your music and then your cooking stuff. Like, what are you kind of known for cooking?
Like New Orleans street food. Yeah, like etouffee, gumbo, hot sausage patties.
I'm hungry right now.
I do jambalaya, and me and my cousin do it. By the way, my cousin, he also cooks with me. His name is Porche, John Porche on Instagram. But he's actually from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? And I got family out there. That's how I started understanding their cuisine and just wanted to eat it all the time. We make king cakes, frozen cups.
I'm gonna need some.
Anything you could think of, New Orleans street food, we making it.
I love that. I feel like I'm talk about it a lot. I love being in the kitchen. The kitchen is like my home. Like I always joke. I don't got a passion for it, but I love being in the kitchen. Love it.
Nah, I don't got a passion for it.
You're just good at it.
Out of necessity, I learned how to cook, and I feel like I'm good enough for people to buy the food from me, but
not your end goal.
It was never a passion for me. It was something that I seen realistically to pivot into. Everybody got to eat. I mean, like, if I can't sell food, I can't sell nothing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to sell drugs. I didn't want to sell women. I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to, like I said, figure out something that I could at least show the kids how to do. It's a useful skill. They can learn how to cook. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they might have a passion for cooking. Maybe I could pass the business to them if I build it up to a certain point. But honestly, my goal is going to be to probably delegate it to a chef that has a real passion for that.
And who wants to do it.
That actually wants to do that.
There's a difference too, and I've met people who are good at cooking, but they don't enjoy it.
Right.
And then you have people who are good at cooking because they love it. Like for me, like exactly. I love it. When I'm in the kitchen, that's like my happy place.
Right.
So when I'm cooking, when I'm doing stuff, it's like I'm in my zone. Like that's my bliss. If I'm in a bad mood,
it ain't nothing in the world happening right now except this cooking. Like this is your happy place.
So it's like for me, that's what it is. So I can understand that where you're like, for you, you're doing it because it's necessity.
And
but
it's
you're
not
also,
terrible.
like-
It's not terrible, but like once it feels like work, that's when cooking is no fun anymore. Once it feels like work.
And I feel like that's why, like, I've always had people who are like, oh, you should start a business cooking, you should do this, you should do that. Part of the reason I wouldn't is because I don't want to, if I cook something, I would never have like a menu to go off of. Because for me, when I cook,
making what's in your heart,
I make what's in my heart when I feel that day.
You putting the love into the dish, but see, it gets hard to do that once you
start selling, doing all that.
Commercialize and monetize food. Like,
so for me, I couldn't do it.
Like I know my grandmother, anybody would pay an arm and a leg for her food. She's not gonna make food for the community and sell food because she make food for her family.
She makes food for her heart.
She enjoys cooking for her family, and that's just where it comes from her heart. She don't want to make food for little Johnny down the street, like unless he come to the house to spend the night. One of her grandkids, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, come eat.
I want to see you eat. I want to see your. I want to see that
exactly.
Joy.
She'll serve you a plate at the crib. She don't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very big on that, and so I can understand that. And I feel like too, like I'm sure now you like music, you enjoy music. So I'm sure when you're in the studio compared to when you're cooking, that's two different vibes. You're probably in there vibing.
Music,
you're zoned out.
It could feel like you could give me a task, a specific task. You make it feel like the hardest work. You could put pressure on me. It's not gonna be unenjoyable.
Yeah.
There's no aspect about it that could be unenjoyable to me. Even sports got to a point where it was bitter for me.
And I feel like that's one of those things too, or maybe that wasn't your ultimate goal, and it may have happened in a sense of where you thought it was supposed to happen this way. Maybe that was, I don't know what your religious background is. I don't know if you believe in God. I don't know if you're spiritual. Whatever your background is, for whatever reason, that wasn't made for you at that point, and it may have been something that was negative that got you out of it. But maybe it was just there to kind of push you to say, hey, you're not going to get there, but you're going to get to where you want to go. At some point, where you need to be.
It was a necessary evil that I had to face in order to see the good in other things. Yeah.
No, I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So obviously, you cook, you do all of this, not your passion. You want it at some point, like, do you want it at some point? Like, I know you said you want to get it to a point where you're growing it for that, or do you think you would love to just kind of find a way to get out of the cooking thing altogether and just focus on music?
Honestly, since January of this year, my focus on the food has been like kind of in the back burner. Like I'm still working, I'm still doing what I do, but I mean I was working really hard to make sure I was like being a vendor at any event in Las Vegas, even if there was no vendor option. I'm like calling the people like, hey man, I'm about to come set up and do my thing. Like I'm not on it as hard because I'm trying to push the music, so it's just not realistic for me to do both at once. Like I said, I would delegate that to somebody if God willing, it happens that way, and somebody come in the path of me doing this music stuff and take it over, that'd be great. But realistically, it looks like it's gonna be something I can't keep up with if the music keeps growing.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep growing, especially if that's your passion.
Right.
That's your your end goal. You seem like the type that if you want something, you're gonna find a way. It's gonna do it. It's gonna happen for you.
My goal at this point.
You found your father. You came here on a whim.
I'm gonna make it happen. If I want to make it happen, I don't try. I do it. But if like this music thing, like my ultimate goal is just to be able to pay my bills with the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if anything else happens, that's a bonus.
Really, just at least
I want to be able to pay
of.
my bills, feed my babies off of the music, and we good.
And I feel like that is also what's going to set you apart from a lot of people, because a lot of people want to do music and do this to get rich. They want the fame. They want this. They want that.
Like they don't understand how like rare that is to be like that monumental of an artist. Like they looking at all of these artists and thinking like
they got this so easy.
Yeah, it's 150 people in every city that's just gonna be stars. It ain't like that. It's literally like one person every like 40 cities.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like you see so many different people, especially we all know the stigma of people saying, oh, you're a rapper, you're this, you're that. There are a million rappers here in Vegas. I can go outside and meet a bunch of them right now. I can go to any restaurant, to
almost everybody
any business
you meet is gonna say it's not even like a black thing at this point. Even like white guys that you meet, almost everybody that you meet is gonna say they're in some type of art industry. They a painter, music artist, fashion. They're gonna say something about some type of art industry like 9 times out of 10. That's
Always.
Just the world we live in. They do YouTube, something.
And it's not, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I feel like everyone should aspire and do all of this, but it's just so hard because it does make it to where, again, it becomes so many different stigmas.
It's like
so
you
many
tired of
things
hearing
happen.
it.
Yeah.
You tired, like, when I introduced myself to people, that was another thing. Like, I'm like, everybody's a rapper. Well, I don't, like,
How do you set yourself apart?
Yeah, why would I want to walk in the room and say I'm a rapper?
Oh, I'm a rapper.
Yeah, like, I don't, it was never, like, appealing like that to me.
For you. Well, and again, that's another thing that will set you apart from it. What do you feel like for you? Like, are you more of like a freestyle? Do you do more of like, you like to write your own stuff? Do you have someone who writes for you? Like, what is like what's your process for everything?
I write and like freestyle, I punch in, but I mean, it's really like, it's how it feels. I do whatever like organically comes up in the moment, whatever I feel. At the beginning, I only wrote strictly. Like I was taught a certain way to do music, and I did it until I perfected it, and I kind of went through my own like developmental stage of like understanding music.
Yeah.
Let me scratch that. At the beginning, at first, when I was discovering that I could rap, I just freestyled because I didn't. Then once I got taught how to structure music, then I started doing hooks, and you know what I'm saying. I started writing my music a certain way, and I did that to a T until I just got the grasp of how music is sonically supposed to sound, I guess, like commercially. And then I kind of started getting comfortable and put my own twist on things. You feel me?
That makes sense. I feel like that's, a big thing of like finding, again, your niche, finding what's good for you, finding what works for you, finding like how you're balanced and how you can kind of mix it all in and get it to be your vibe and your own thing and putting your stamp on it.
Right.
Instead of, just here it is. And even too, like the whole, writing thing, like I know there's a lot of people who are like, I don't have anyone write for me and that's, this and that. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I'm not opposed to somebody writing for me. Now, if somebody say, okay, so say I was in the studio with somebody like The Dream, which is to me one of the greatest writers in music history. So if I'm in a room with somebody like that, if he come up with a hook that he wants me to say on the song, what do I look like saying I don't want to do that? That's probably finna be the biggest song that I'd have made. That's probably gonna be the most well-received song. As long as it's not something I gotta compromise my morals or whatever.
Your morals or your own opinion.
Like that's probably gonna be one of my works of art that's received the most broad, that gets me to whatever next level that I want to get to with my music. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I feel like that's hindering yourself.
Yeah, finding it, doing different things.
Because I write for people a lot of times, and some people don't receive it. So, you know what I'm saying? Some people be like, nah, I will never let nobody write for me. And I'm like, man, bro, but this will sound good, like, with your voice. Like,
I feel like some of the greatest artists have had writers, have had people who have wrote for them. There's also some great artists who I feel like write songs that would be terrible for them to, perform, but for someone else would just be perfect.
Yes.
And so I feel like a lot of people, again, it's one of those things where it's to each their own, finding your niche, finding what you need to. Not everyone kind of does everything the same way.
I mean, like, I don't necessarily want to say no names, but like, it's certain artists that wrote their own music, and then once they had somebody else write for them, they became platinum selling artists. Yeah. I mean, like, it's not a bad thing to have somebody write for you.
No.
If your goal is to make money off of music, which
try it all. Try it all until you find what works for you.
Yeah, it don't make sense to like hinder yourself like that. But it's a lot of things with the music that I feel indifferent than the general consensus about. Like, it's weird. It's entertainment. People take it a little bit too serious.
I love that. But that is going to be it for today. So at the end of every episode, I love to kind of just like hear like your thoughts on just the world, what advice you would give to other people, what kind of things you feel like would help someone else, who has been through some of the similar things that you were in your shoes, and just give them kind of, a little bit of advice to figure out where they can go, how they can get better, or you can just give people a tip and trick or whatever you want to do whatever in life. It's up to you. It's your world.
If she don't pay like she weigh and she fat, no, I'm just playing. What I want to say though, look, anybody going through...
This will be your camera here.
Okay.
That one will get you directly.
Anybody going through anything, just wake up every day and try to make yesterday jealous. Your goal every day is to make yesterday jealous, and that's going to get you a step further to where you're trying to be every day.
I'm actually going to use that one. I want to make yesterday jealous every day. So I'm definitely using that one. Just so we're clear.
Use that, and if you
Use
put
it.
it on a t-shirt,
I'm
make
gonna-
sure I get my residuals
I'll do
before I
your
get
little.
mad.
I'll do your little thing.
Because I get upset about something like that. You know
I
what
will
I'm saying?
literally. I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do a little tiny tag and be like. No, I actually
Tiny
love that.
tag is rude as hell. Nah, just put my name on the paperwork. We good.
I know. No, I love that actually.
Yeah.
Give them one more time where they can find you, follow you at.
Follow me.
Also add it on there for you.
Follow me at g.m_Jesus with a G. Before I get mad, and make sure you go stream before I get mad when that motherfucker drop.
Are you already on like any streaming platforms? Do you already have your accounts ready? Is there any way that, because I know that they can do it to where they can do like, what is it, like the pending thing, or you can subscribe to like Apple and all of that beforehand to like get prepared for a drop and get notified?
Nah, honestly, I probably have like a couple little singles floating around out there that people done leaked and stuff like that. But like I said, music was a hobby for a minute, and I ain't really dropped nothing. I got the single from my mixtape, my mixtape that I'm about to drop. It's on my Instagram, so you can go check that out. It's called Gotham. And besides that, y'all just gonna have to wait.
You heard that. Wait, be patient. May not be easy for some of you, but be patient.
Man, keep your eyes
Patience
on me, though.
is key.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the best rapper you never knew.
We're going to be waiting. We're going to do it. We're going to get it. But this was Charlese Will Figure It Out. And I think we figured out a lot about you today, actually.
Yeah,
I'm very grateful that you came in and you were able to kind of share some stuff. Your story is beautiful, and I'm excited to share it with the world. And I hope that, more people can see it and we can really get that vibe out there.
Nice to meet you, Charlese, and I appreciate the opportunity at Chicken Wrap.
Yes, we're at Chicken Wrap.
Yeah.
So, of course, it is your host, Charlese. You can follow me at Is It Charlese? And then, of course, the podcast page at Charlese Will Figure It Out. And then, of course, you can go to Chicken Wrap Entertainment for a lot of your entertainment needs. And that is it. This episode is a wrap.
Hey, G, out of the way. Lock your doors, out your horse. Yeah, we out this one.